Welcome back to the OHIO podcast, everybody. I'm your host, Buckeye Boggs. That man over there is the wild man, Chris Wilds. That man below me is JR. The guy in the corner, that is the doctor himself, Cory. And you are you, and we're thankful to have each and every single one of you with us. Now, I do believe we may have restarted a brand new stream here because, Chris, when we killed the first one and went out and went back in, it may have started it again. If that's the case, everybody, I apologize, and we might have a terrible delay in the chat too.
And we lost Facebook as well.
Well, yeah, so there's some weird things happening right now. We were trying to figure it out before we went live. Unfortunately, I think Facebook it was the issue the whole time, and we can thank Mark Zuckerberg, right, for that one. But you're right, probably not. So. Anyways, everybody, it's good to have you all with us as we celebrate Ohio State's big 28-14 Cotton Bowl win. We're going to talk all about that tonight. We've got a great discussion for after the commercial break, and then we'll tell you all about what's to come down through the pike here for this week. So do me a big favor. If you are all in the chat right now, let me know.
Just so you know, Eric, we've got two different chats going. We're not seeing on our chat what's going on the YouTube chat right now.
I wondered. That's why I asked.
Because I've got the YouTube chat up on my phone.
So here's the deal, guys. We're probably not going to be able to put your comments up tonight because, unfortunately, with the whole screw up that happened at the beginning of the show with Facebook, I think it kicked us over to a brand new broadcast that's live. So I do apologize, everybody, because I'm kicking over to YouTube now, and I see a whole bunch of people, and none of your comments are showing up in our EV Mux live stream. So I'll have to do a little work on my end. Let me get through the pleasantries here at the beginning, and we'll dive right in, and then I'll go work on the back end here. We are the official Ohio State podcast of Fansided and Scarlet and Game. Head over to scarletandgame.com. Check out all their great content as well as our audio podcast over there. You can download us wherever you want to. That's absolutely free. And you know what? If you do, please give us a 5-star review. Also, guys, please, by all means, go over to thecollegehuddle.com where you can find us and 75 other of our closest friends over at thecollegehuddle.com. If you need to contact us for any reason, please email us at theohiopodcast@gmail.com. Again, you can email us at theohiopodcast@gmail.com. I think that's about it, other than the website, theohiopodcast.com, where you can go click on the store. You can buy merch from us over at the store. There's still merch available at our merch location as well over on the website. And other than that, guys, we're glad to have you all. Chris, you guys, I'm going to start with you, then Cory, then JR. Your initial reaction from Ohio State's Cotton Bowl win. While you guys go do that, I'm going to go fix this.
Well, I'll tell you, for me, it was just a wow. I mean, I expected it to be a good game. I actually thought we'd win by 2 touchdowns. We did. Not necessarily the dominance I thought we'd show. But you know what? Texas can't take anything away from them. They were a solid team. And the big thing was our leaders, our 2 inspirational leaders, and Will Howard and Jack Sawyer. When we needed those guys to step up the most, they did. So you can't say enough about that. And hey, the Buckeyes are going to the national title game. What more can you say? JR?
Yeah, I mean, by the time the third quarter came, I was feeling a little dicey. I wasn't feeling great about it. There were a bunch of 3 and outs that Ohio State was having. Just felt like anything they were doing was killed by penalties. I didn't necessarily agree with all the people that were talking about Chip Kelly was calling a terrible game. I didn't think he was calling a great game, but I didn't think it was all on him. I thought, the Travion Henderson penalty, the multiple other penalties. There was multiple drop passes by the wide receivers in the game. I know they don't count some of those deep balls, but I mean, there was a ball that literally went right through Jeremiah Smith's hands. There was a ball that went right through Emeka Egbuka's hands. So, I mean, Ohio State did just about everything you needed to do to beat yourselves in this game, but they were still able to come up with 2 big plays. One at the end of the half with Travion Henderson, and then obviously the Jack Sawyer play that's going to go down in history as one of the greatest plays ever made on defense in Ohio State history. And I was just glad they were able to pull it out because Texas gave them a good game, and Ohio State didn't look nearly as sharp as they had in the Oregon and Tennessee game. I don't know what to attribute that to. I don't know if that concerns me for Notre Dame, but I'm just happy about the win.
I'll tell you, Ohio State needed this. Let's be real. They needed a somebody who could punch them in the mouth a little bit, punch back. I think the worst thing for Ohio State would have been to roll into the national title game against Notre Dame having blown out 3 guys in a row. And I think it's good to remember you're human, you're mortal. These teams that you're playing are very good. And Notre Dame, make no mistake, is a very tough physical football team. Whether they have the talent on our level or not, you dispute that. I think most people would say they don't. But they are a very tough, resilient physical football team. And we just got gut punched a little bit against Texas, and we did everything like JR said to beat ourselves. We've done that so many times in the Ryan Day era. It's been insane, and it goes back into the Urban era. To be honest with you, there was so many games where it's like, what how many mistakes can we possibly make? Even the Natty we won with Urban, we made how many mistakes that game? Still came out on top, but we made 1.5 million turnovers. But we made so many penalties in this game, just missed opportunities, shoot ourselves in the foot. Texas is a good team, and this is the type of game typically under Ryan Day we would lose. And it would be a disappointing loss thinking, how come we can't put it all together? But they didn't put it all together, but they just had to grind this one out and come up with big plays and opportunistic times, and they did that. And I'm hoping that this is a turn of the page from the whoops, we made a mistake and we beat ourselves to, yeah, we made mistakes, but we overcame them.
All right, guys, if you're watching in the chat right now and listening, we cannot see what you guys are putting in the chat through our streaming service right now. We had a technical glitch at the beginning that caused us to have to reboot the actual video live stream, and when it did, it created a new live stream, and so everything that was happening before we actually started the show is stuck in what we see on our chat. And so because of that, everything you guys are currently typing over on YouTube, we can't see it. If you type it in X, if you type it in a Rumble, we're not going to be able to see it tonight, and we're not going to be able to share your comments. I apologize for that, but we started the show, and I don't have time to go back and restart it again. So we will just go from here, and I will have YouTube over on and go back and forth to try to read anything you guys are saying that I can try to read out loud. So that being said, the game was fantastic. I'm still on cloud 9. I've been making all kinds of great videos the last couple of days, making fun of things. I had Texas Longhorn steak for dinner last night with a side of Lucky Charms for fun. That's kind of where I'm at with things. Cory made a fun video. I know JR's probably made some great stuff as well for the Big Ten Huddle and his channel. We're all just living it up right now. And I got contacted by Mr. Notre Dame himself, John Kennedy, who's like, hey, this is going to be a good week for both of our channels. And I said, absolutely. So that being said, we're just on cloud 9 tonight, and we're ready to dive right in and relive it all again once again. So that being said, let's go ahead and let's hand out grades, guys. Let's do that first. So
hey, Eric, before we do,
yeah,
Skeeter had asked a question if we had made a video of our reaction from the other night.
yeah.
And we definitely have, Skeeter. That is actually already been posted. It's up, and it was pretty amazing.
So yeah, I cut it up with the play, and it's all of our reactions. Chris, Cory, mine, Lisa, during the whole play. Cory made one to the theme song of Pirates of the Caribbean, which I thought was great.
Absolutely fabulous.
Yeah, we've had a lot of fun, but you can find those on Twitter. I posted it on our Twitter page. I posted it on our Facebook page, so you can find those there. And eventually I'll make it into probably a YouTube short because it's just a lot of fun. So, all right. Ryan Day's Beard just gifted 1 membership. And that went to Skeeter to the Woods Water Mizzou podcast. Thank you, man. Again, guys, I'm so sorry. Anything you post in the chat tonight, I can't put up on the screen. It's stuck somewhere out there in YouTube land, and it's not coming over to our streaming service. So Adam Dowling just sent a $4.99 super chat. Hello, my Ohio friends. I still love the show. Just happy the SEC is out. Adam Dowling's a Notre Dame fan. Glad to have you with us tonight, Adam. Appreciate that. So yeah, absolutely. By the way, Skeeter, here in a couple days, since you're a member now, Chris and I are going to drop our first I guess you could call it a recruiting video. That's a recruiting commit video that is completely different than what anybody else does out there. We kind of are testing it. I think you might be interested in this for your side of things over there in Missouri. Okay, all that said, let's finally give out some grades here, man. Let's start with the offense first. So 289 passing yards, 81 rushing yards, for a total of 370 yards, 6.5 yards per play, 18 first downs. We were only 3 of 10 on third down. Fourth down efficiency, though, was 1 of 1. Time of possession was 31 minutes and 38 seconds, and there was 1 turnover in this game. So, Chris, I'll just start with you. Your offensive letter grade.
May not be popular, but I'm going to go C+.
Okay.
I don't think they were very effective. They had a lot of really stupid penalties. And you know, the reason it's a plus instead of just a C was that huge play by Will Howard on fourth down that got our 1 conversion. So C+ for me.
Cory.
I was going to actually head to C+. I'm going B- officially because I'll give Texas a curve here. Texas is a really tough defense, and they have beasts in the middle of the offense. Some standout performances like by Donnie Jackson, who just had a phenomenal performance on that line. The interior line struggled a little bit, but again, I'm trying to be a little lenient with them. But I agree with Chris. Stupid penalties bring the thing down. A turnover wasn't really that effective. We had 2 really good drives that whole game, notwithstanding the 75-yard fluke. And I say fluke because how often does that happen? Before a half, even though Trey Henderson is that kind of player and he is that capable of doing those things. And by the way, if you look at that play a little bit closer, I was looking at some of the close-ups of it. It wasn't just a great blocking and the wedge out there. He actually made a guy miss badly in the middle of that gap. And Trey is just special. I'm going to miss Trey Henderson. So I just wanted to point that out. I'm going to miss Trey Henderson. That dude is flat out freaking special. And he is going to make an NFL team very, very happy because he's the most bang for your buck running back in this running back class. Get the ball 10 times, you'll still get you 120 yards total and 2 touchdowns. Just he's such a playmaker. Undervalued in my opinion a little bit. But that being said, blocking was discombobulated at times. Will Howard, I think, got lost in coverages at times. Didn't really know what he was looking at sometimes. They took Smith completely out of the game with their bracketing. Run game was okay, but not as consistent as I'd like. And again, Texas is a really good defense. So I'll say B- just on a curve.
Yeah, I'm going to go with a B. I'm a little bit higher on it than you guys. The rushing success rate in this one was nearly 50%, which that's about average. That's kind of where you want to be at. So it really was just the penalties and a few drop passes that just kind of held them back. So the way I look at it, when they needed their offense the most, they went down the field and they scored and put them up 21-14. It wasn't just a field goal or anything like that. Ryan Day didn't get conservative. Chip Kelly didn't get conservative there and be like, oh, let's call it. G. Scott got some yards, but let's kick a field goal here or something like that. Because if that would have happened, then Texas wouldn't have tried to go for it on fourth down, and Jack Sawyer wouldn't have had his play. But they were aggressive. They trusted their guys, and also too, I mean, you said graded on a curve, Cory. I agree because I have to grade on the curve of Jeremiah Smith was just not there at all for pretty much the entire game. Will Howard tried to force one and turn into an interception, which I obviously did not like. But I felt like after that happened, Ryan Day and Chip Kelly were just like, all right, Jeremiah Smith, you're a decoy for the rest of the game. And they didn't try to force it to him. They didn't try to get it to him in ways that were going to be detrimental to their team. They were content with going to Cardinal Tate. They were content going to Emeka Ibuka and, guys like Travion Henderson and Quinshon Judkins. Quinshon Judkins didn't have the best, stat day out there, but you look at all-purpose yards, Travion Henderson and Quinshon Judkins, they almost had 200 yards together. Now, a lot of that is a 75-yard play, but still, together, the two of them, they almost had 200 yards. So I agree with you guys. There's a lot to look at and not be happy about, but I felt like they faced some adversity, and when they needed them most in the offense, they showed up. So I'm going to give credit for that.
Skeeter from the Woods Water Mizzou podcast gifted. He's passing on the love here, paying it forward. He's gifted a 1-month membership to the Glass City Buck. So welcome, thank you, Skeeter, for that, and welcome, Glass City Buck. Hope you find the what we do here positive and worth continuing to pay for another month. Adam Dowling points out that this championship game would not exist if we were in a 4-team playoff. Absolutely. That is absolutely true. And those who are complaining about the 12-team playoff, all you got to do is win your games. Penn State almost went to this thing. Penn State almost got to a national championship because they won their games until they didn't because James Franklin. But I digress. By the way,
they call us soft all the time, and yet all the people who lost are complaining that the playoffs had too many teams in it.
Yeah, except for Alabama and Ole Miss. Why are they complaining that there's too?
They're complaining there's not enough teams.
Yeah. Exactly. So no matter how many, if this thing goes up to 16, then teams 17, 18 are going to complain.
Yeah.
Right. But at the end of the day, you want the 2 teams who are the best 2 at the end of the year playing for a national championship. It is, guys. This is Super Bowl light. I don't know what else to say to people. This is how things go in the NFL, and no one complains that the NFL playoffs is unfair. So why
is anybody
why
complaining about the blowouts in the NFL playoffs right now?
I mean, I don't watch, Cory, so I have no idea.
By the time it's over, we'll be at 68 teams.
Yeah. So, anyways, my grade is I'm going to go with a B-. Bobby Mack with a $5 super chat. I believe JTT and Sawyer both have played themselves into the first round, giving us 5 first-rounders. Who else do you think improved draft stock? Definitely Jack. What about Denzel Burke? I think his draft stock's improved. I know he had the one bad game, but
I don't know. He was. They say he's battling an injury this past game. Didn't barely play, so I don't know if he improved it yet.
They said he got injured on that tackle he tried to make, where the guy, he was in zone coverage. The guy got away from him in front of him, and apparently he.
I believe it. Some people are trying to say he got benched for that, and I was like, he didn't get benched for one play.
No. Will Howard's draft stock, says Ryan Daysbeard. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. He's definitely gonna be drafted. Definitely.
Oh, of course.
I still don't think right now.
I'll tell you. I know. Donovan Jackson's draft stock is through the roof right now.
Yes.
I think he's played himself in the first round.
He's a first rounder. Yes.
Yeah.
Let's see.
As a tackle, by the way.
Cody Simon's draft stock.
Oh,
absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. Cody Simons.
Tyler Williams.
Stayed the same, in my opinion.
Maybe yeah.
He's been a late first rounder pretty much the entire time.
That's fair. Yeah, I was going to say that Oregon game, he looked like such a monster. I was like, geez, man.
Maybe Ransom?
I think Ransom definitely. If we didn't have Caleb Downs, we'd be talking about Ransom as one of the top 5 safeties in the country, which he is. But we don't talk about him.
He missed 3 tackles in this game, and
which is unlike him.
Right, and you still look at it and say he had a great game. That's how you know, like, somebody really made an impact. They missed 3 tackles in one game, and you still look at it and say, that guy had a great game.
I think Ransom's a guy who'd be a 10-year starter at the next level, while Downs is probably an all-pro at the next level type thing.
Yeah.
This, you know what? Now that I'm over here watching YouTube, I really wish Evie Mux would do it this way.
Yeah, this is
so
amazing.
much better. Yeah, this is so much better. It tells you how long you've been a member, like C-Dub, member for 6 months. He said
PFF still has Donovan Jackson as a 3rd rounder.
That's crazy. He says, great job, Eric and team. Thank you, C-Dub. Appreciate that, man. Coconut gifted 5 memberships. Thank you, Coconut. Let's see who they went to. Big Ten football talk. All right. There we go. Zach Guggenheim got one. DOT, Jennifer got memberships here. So that is fantastic. Michael Treese was gifted a membership. Did I miss one? I must have missed one. Not sure. 1, 2, 3, 4. Thanks, guys. Appreciate that. Coconut, that's awesome, man. Let's see here. Ryan Daysbeard. Eric, are you going to have John on? Oh, yes.
Oh, yes.
We are efforting for Kennedy to be with us live next Sunday night. If he's not going to the national championship game, I'm going to ask him to be live with us Sunday. If he is, or he can't do that, we may change up Thursday night and have him live with us Thursday, possibly, instead of doing a call-in show. Or maybe we do both. That would be wild.
Have Kennedy on call in?
Yeah. D-Rock Irish is with us. That's one of Kennedy's boys. Good evening, OSU. Quite a battle for Notre Dame to attempt and defeat Ohio State. I think this should be close for the majority of the game. We shall see. We shall see. Fantastic, though. Brian Oberst, good to see you, buddy. Okay, let's keep rocking and rolling here. Let's go to the defensive side of the ball now. Passing yards allowed, 283. Rushing yards allowed. And circle this, highlight this. This is the game right here. 58 yards. That's it. And we told everybody, Texas had to run the ball if they were going to beat us.
Yep.
Total yards allowed, 341. Yards per play, only 5. First downs allowed, 20. Third down efficiency, 5 of 15. Fourth down efficiency, 1 of 3. Time on the field, 28 minutes and 22 seconds, but 2 turnovers. Interesting of note, Texas had more first downs, and they were better on third down than we were. However, 2 turnovers and couldn't run the ball. That, at the end of the day, really killed Texas. Your defensive letter grade, Chris.
You know what? I got to go with an A. I mean, this is a potent offense.
Yeah.
That we made look anemic. And I feel like we did a great job. Yeah, we had a few lapses. Yeah, they got a few plays here and there. But for the most part, Ohio State controlled this game defensively. I got to give them an A.
Yeah, I'm going A as well. I mean, it's just, again, they kept us in the game when our offense was sputtering. And they were how many time we were counting it on the live watch. It's like, oh, they did 5 after 5 drives. They've kept them out of the end zone, out of the field goal range. They really got 4 sacks, 9 tackles for loss or something like that.
Yeah.
I mean, whatever they have done to fix the pressure issue after Oregon, brava to Knowles and Johnson, because they have become the best pressure team in the country. They get pressure on every quarterback now, just with their front 4 off. And Jack and JT have, I don't know what superpowers or whatever they drank going into the playoffs, or what they roided up, whatever. They are just on another level. And Cody Simon, of course, is still great and playing great. The secondary is playing well. I mean, the only reason why I don't say A+, because they I mean, granted, they try to keep it in front of them. I get it, but that check down in the wheel routes were killing them most of the night. But you can't cover everything. I'm not going to completely rip them for that. But yeah, A, man, that this defense is elite.
A+, because Texas in the fourth quarter, punt, fumble, interception.
Yeah.
I mean, how many times have we complained about no turnovers? How many times have we complained about in the fourth quarter this defense, loses their steam, they're not fresh, all this stuff? They had a 3-and-out in the fourth quarter. They drove 10 plays, 58 yards that ended in that Jack Sawyer fumble recovery for a touchdown, and then Quinn Ewers only threw the ball. He actually had some time left there, almost 2 minutes left. He threw the ball on their third play, threw an interception to Caleb Downs. There was absolutely no chance after that. Very little chance after the Jack Sawyer play, but still, absolutely no chance after that. And I can't say enough good things about this defense. I do want to ask you guys' opinion on the linebackers, though, because when I did some like position grades on the Big Ten huddle after everything was over, and I gave a C+ to the linebackers, and people were telling me that I was being too harsh on them. My biggest thing was it felt like Sark was doing obvious things with the running backs and other and like tight ends and stuff like that, and the linebackers weren't good in coverage. Now, Sonny Styles absolutely destroyed that tight end, and Sark is yelling for a targeting penalty, which, by the way, can you imagine how many people would be saying Ryan Day is soft if he does that? But Sark does it, and nobody cares. And so they made up for it, and the defensive line had 4 balls batted down. I want to say 3 of those 4 balls that were batted down were throws to the running back that would have been big completions for Texas because our linebackers just weren't covering them. I don't know if they didn't know what their responsibilities were or what, but for me, like, yes, Sonny Styles had a great game, couple tackles for loss, a sack, stuff like that, but at the end of the day, like, if I'm Notre Dame, I'm looking at that and I'm saying Riley Leonard can't throw the ball more than 5 yards. Throw it to the running back. Throw it to the running back every single time because the linebackers aren't covering them because they're going on blitzes instead. I'm curious you guys' thoughts on the linebackers.
Well, I agree with you somewhat. And not only that, but Sonny had good numbers but didn't have a great game. I feel like he was out of position a few times, took a couple bad angles as well as what you're talking about with the poor coverage. Now, I think the rest of the defense made up for it. But, yeah, I would say that they definitely were attacking the linebackers. And that's something we're going to have to watch because, if you picked it up or if I saw it, then Marcus Freeman's definitely seen it. So
This is going to be a big linebacker game against Notre Dame.
To me, JR, you're right, but I also chalk it up to this is how Sark operates. I'm just going to say it one time, tough Borland on Devon A. Smith. I know Kerry Combs never meant to have that coverage, but Sark knows how to get those matchups. And he knew how to attack our linebackers in coverage. And Sonny Styles was out of position a couple times. The check down was killing us, like I was saying. I think that's more Sark than it is. Well, let's just say it's even. We didn't cover well, but Sark is also really good at attacking linebackers in coverage.
that hurt, Cory. That hurt. Why would you even bring that up?
I had to make a point. It drew blood. I'm sorry.
I hear you, JR, and I believe that this game, Cory's right. I think Sark was putting pressure on what he viewed as the weakest part of our defense, and we still only gave up 21 or 14 points.
Yeah.
So, this is going to be another big game for the linebackers because Notre Dame is going to test. They're going to test how tough this defense is up front. I mean, let's be honest. And how they're going to do it is going to be a little bit unique, in my opinion, because they're going to allow their quarterback to use his legs, I think, as much as humanly possible in this game. And you guys all know that one thing that scares me and that scares a lot of fans is running quarterbacks against this defense. It seems to have been the Achilles heel. And so if we're going to win it all, we're going to have to do it trying to, stop the one thing that has actually hurt us in a quarterback who's got some wheels.
One thing I will say to that, though, how many quarterbacks is Jack Sawyer hurt?
I was going to say, they better have their second string guy ready.
I'm not rooting for Riley Leonard to get hurt, but all I'm going to say is if you run at your own risk, buddy, at your own risk.
Yeah, well, Sonny Styles ain't afraid to lower the boom, and Cody Simon will crack a helmet or two. So,
Since when?
Since Tennessee. Too bad it won't be cold out.
It won't be cold enough,
in that dome. All right, let's move on to Buckeye Leaves now. Thank you guys for participating in that. Buckeye Leaves, here we go. This is good. There's going to be some obvious stuff here. Should we just get the obvious out of the way?
Defensive play of the game?
The defensive play or hit of the game. Chris, take it away.
Well, I would have to go with the strip, sack, scoop, and score by Jack Sawyer.
Ditto.
Yeah, I mean, I try to do different stuff every now and then.
This one's impossible.
Love, but it's impossible to choose anything but that.
How do you not? It's just it's iconic, and that's what the whole second part of this show is going to be about today. So agreed. Offensive play of the game. Again, are we going to do anything other than Travion Henderson's 75-yard screen pass? Anybody?
I can make an argument for something different.
Are you going to?
You know what? I will, just to be different.
Okay.
How about Will Howard's big play on 4th and 2?
If you want, Yeah, I could make an argument for something different too if we just have to do that. But I would go Trevion. But how about G. Scott's fight to get it to fourth and manageable
Right.
on the pass right before Will Howard? So you could say that one too. Those two combined make up a play of the game.
Okay,
Man,
so
when
Corey,
he went,
you are going to go with Travion Henderson's screen TV.
I mean,
correct?
yeah, how do you
Okay.
not? That was incredible.
when G Scott went backward on that, I was about ready to pull my hair out, and then all of a sudden he just fights for
Lunged.
those extra like 7 yards or 8 yards.
Totally
And
redeems himself.
yeah, but you couldn't see the sideline either, so you were also like, did he step out? Like, yeah, I'll go Trevion Henderson, 75-yard reception.
And to be fair, Chris, what are you picking exactly?
I'll take the Will Howard run just to be different, but the Travion Henderson probably deserves it. I just like to make you make an extra graphic.
You son of a gun.
Hey,
Right.
if Aaron was here, he'd choose both.
Well, Aaron would have,
A whole offensive line.
yeah, exactly. All right, defensive player of the game, Chris.
I'm going to go with Jack Sawyer again.
Really? I can
Yeah.
make an argument for someone else. I
Well,
totally
you can make
can.
an argument for JT, obviously.
Yeah.
I mean, with the sack and a half, 7 tackles. I just think that for me, this was a game won with emotion, and I think that Jack Sawyer is the emotional leader, and he was the driving force, and obviously he had the biggest play of the night.
Okay, Corey.
Yeah, I mean, if I wanted to be different, I'd go Caleb Downs because I think even with the stat sheet, he saved a couple touchdowns on clutch tackles.
Yeah, he did.
He was good in coverage. He drew a taunting penalty. I mean,
Come on, man. Let's pause right there. That had to be.
That
Do
was
you
the
guys?
weakest penalty.
Do you
I've
think
ever
it was?
Is it a crap penalty?
It's
yes,
a crap
but
penalty.
they call that all the time when you do anything. If you do anything towards another player, they will call it. I've seen it a
They'll
million
call
times.
taunting if you step over a player. Like,
Yeah, exactly. If
it's
you
so
accidentally
stupid to do
step
it.
over him, it's taunting. I mean, it's
Yeah.
like
Just
as
don't
soon
be
as I saw the
stupid.
point, there it is.
Yeah.
It is stupid. I'm not saying it's not, but anyway, if I wanted to be different, I go Caleb Down. But I'm going Jack Sawyer. I mean, that play is like iconic, and even though he played a good game otherwise, that play just encompasses everything on the defense. I mean, it's like, I mean, how do you go against Jack?
I will obviously go with Jack, but super underrated one I just want to mention, and he didn't play very much. I think he only got like 7 snaps or something like that. But guys, Caden McDonald's a cheat code on the goal line. I mean, the amount of push, that center was 3 yards behind the line of scrimmage by the time the running back got there. He was in his pocket. Caden McDonald is some kind of man. I can't wait to see him more next year. Obviously, I'll be sad to see Ty and Tyleek go, but Caden McDonald is some kind of man, guys.
Okay, your offensive player of the game.
I'm going to go Will Howard again. I mean, decent stat sheet, but more than anything, he led this team. He put them on his back, and he just went for it.
I'm going Donovan Jackson. I think one pressure all night. He's a rock, and I'm going to say it right now. It's a hot take. Without Donnie Jackson, we are not in the title game. Without him securing.
That's not a hot take
That's
at
not
all.
a hot take. That's
Okay,
a fact.
That's truth.
Fair point. All right, fair. Thank you. I appreciate you correcting me on that. But if he doesn't secure that left tackle spot, we are screwed. Because you saw what Zen did. So I can't be amazed by him enough. I always thought he was a mediocre guard, and he's like a freaking all Big Ten, all American left tackle somehow. And I'm like, God bless him, man. Because Will's been great. I don't want to take anything away from Will. I just can't believe what Donnie's doing.
Does it? Oh, go ahead, really fast.
I was just gonna say, Zen Mikowski was so bad. He's like, I'm in the portal. I mean, he's not even gonna try to win that job. He's like, I'm out. Like, and Signetti takes him over to Indiana, and I don't be surprised if he's not the starting left tackle in Indiana next year. I don't think he will
I don't
be.
see how he would be.
God, can you out Jackson? Hope so.
I don't think we play them next year.
So,
Yeah,
guys,
I would think so.
I need a diagnosis on my mental state at this point because I think I have come down with blame fry-itis because there is a part of me that watches Donovan Jackson play left tackle now that's like, why wasn't this guy doing it before? You know, I'm not trying to take anything away from Josh Fryer. Josh Fryer has had a very good season at right tackle. But why in the world did we not have Donovan Jackson playing right tackle or Josh Simmons playing right tackle? Why in the world did we go all this time, all of last year, all of this year for the time Josh Simmons was there? Why did we have Josh Fryer out on the right tackle when you had your second best tackle playing guard the entire time? I know he's only 6'4", and I know Justin Fry is all about, like, you got to be 6'5", 6'6", 6'7", like, you got to be 6'5" and up. At a certain point, you just got to play the best guys in the best spots. And I don't know, maybe Donovan Jackson didn't want to do it. I don't know. Maybe, I'll eat my words if that's the case, but guys, I think I have a disease at this point because there isn't anything good that can happen with this offensive line that I don't find myself blaming Justin Fry for because it's just embedded in me at this point.
Well, JR, to your point, I mean, if you think back, if I'm not mistaken, Josh Simmons was a right tackle when he came here, was he not? He actually played right tackle at San Diego State, didn't he?
I think you're right. Let me check really fast, but I think you're right.
So that was his natural position, and that could have been a part of his struggles that first year.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. I don't know. Like I said, I might have a disease. Anything
possible
good happens.
that he and Donnie had a talk, and look, Donnie reminds me a lot of Jamarco Jones.
Yeah,
he was 6'4", solid left tackle, but he played guard at the next level. I kind of wonder if Justin and Donnie said, look, let's put you at guard because that's what you're going to be at the next level. We'll keep you there so you have the most experience there. And just basically desperation said, well, we got to play a tackle. We have nobody else. And it turns out Donnie's pretty good. So I bet Donnie will still be a guard at the next level, but my goodness, man, it's just like,
yeah, but at the next level, you only travel, like 7 or 8 offensive linemen. So having a guy that can swing out to tackle like that is so
valuable. Yeah, that's why I said his draft stock's raising.
Yeah. Oh, easily. Yeah. He's minimum second round at this point, but he probably playing himself in the
I think he's a first rounder right now.
Yeah.
I really do.
Chris, you were right. Josh Simmons played 800 snaps at right tackle in 2022 at San Diego State.
Yeah.
So, JR, who's your offensive player of the game?
Oh,
Donnie.
No, I'll do something different. I will go. You know what? Give me Quinshon Judkins. I know he didn't have the most yards for the day, but 2 touchdowns on the day. Covered up for Carnell Tate when he had that stupid drop in the end zone.
I love how he did this. So yeah.
It's like, it is your fault, buddy. Catch it next time. If I'm Will Howard, I'm like, yeah, you should be doing that.
And then he ran hard too.
Yeah. Oh man. And he was pumped up. You see him screaming at people and everything. And did you guys see the people on Twitter that were trying to say he had targeting on that block?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Texas fans. Yep.
Oh my gosh.
The sad part is there's probably an argument to be made.
It never gets called on offensive players, but
it doesn't. But if they were to actually call it equally as far as offense and defense, there would be an argument to be made.
Yeah.
So, fun little game here before we go to commercial break, because I want to get JR's take before we leave here. But I just thought of this, and I think it's going to be fun. So we've played 3 teams with 3 pretty large fan bases: Tennessee, Oregon, and Texas. Which fan base do you think is the softest? Which fan base has been the most fun to go back and forth with? And which fan base is just kind of in the middle?
That's a great question.
Well, I'll lead off with softest.
Okay.
Yes.
Texas.
We are all agreed. When you try to get this banned and you get offended by this, Michael Taffy would getting on Luke Montgomery for doing that. It's just like, you guys are pathetic.
Well, and that's the thing. They actually tried to get it banned. Like, people want to bring up Ohio State wanted to get rid of the flag planting. It's like, no, they didn't. There's just some idiot in Ohio State or Ohio representative.
Who's a Michigan fan.
Right, that everybody got mad at. And they were like, dude, you're an idiot. Why are you doing this? Yeah, no, I think the most fun to go back and forth with was actually Tennessee fans
Yeah.
because they were kind of crazy, but at the same time, I think some of them didn't take themselves too seriously and they were just kind of having fun with it, and I thought that was fun.
I actually go with Oregon for myself personally. I like Tennessee fans, but I didn't feel like much back and forth with them as far as like trash talk because I felt like as much as they tried, they weren't very good at it. And
You're kind of making
I
fun of it.
remember the stuff like Neyland North, like they went on the
Yeah.
Apple maps and changed it, like stuff like that, where I was like, okay, that's actually really funny that you
The
were
guy
able
who
to
hit
go into
the
it and do that.
what was it, the Waffle House he hit, or what was it? What
Something like
restaurant
that,
was it,
yeah.
Eric?
Yeah, yeah.
IHOP, Waffle House, one of them.
They got
Yeah,
on
great.
Waffle. They got on the Waffle House app and downloaded Rocky
Rocky
Top
Top.
to where it would play in all of their restaurants, all the Waffle Houses in
I
Central
will say the
Ohio.
Tennessee fans were the least delusional about their team. Of
Oh,
the three
Oregon
games.
fans definitely had the most delusion,
Yeah, they were like,
And they
like,
still
and
do.
okay.
they were just quite ignorant at times, to be completely honest.
Yeah, they
I thought they
still
were
do.
kind of
They were
funny.
like,
I don't
oh,
know.
if only we had the Penn State route, we'd be in the national championship playing Ohio State right now. It's like,
Thought about being soft.
yeah, like, you just
Oregon,
lost to Ohio State, so
Oregon wants to be the Michigan of the West. Well, let me tell you, their fan base is on the way.
Yeah.
Very fun. All right, guys, we're going to go to a quick commercial break. JR is going to exit stage left, prepare for his show. After we're done here tonight, y'all jump over to the Big Ten Huddle where he and Zach Guggenheim are going to break down this game and so much more. JR, thank you much, man.
thanks, guys.
All right, let's head on over to our commercial break. We'll be right back. Maybe not. Maybe. I'm just terrible tonight. I'm just hitting all kinds of buttons.
The OHIO podcast is brought to you by Mastermind. Mastermind specializes in 360-degree, high-definition mobile video mapping, GIS integration, and traffic safety studies. Mastermind cares about traffic safety and keeping you safe on the roadway. Visit Mastermind at onlinemastermind.com.
All right. Man, I'm just all kinds of backwards without the chat on my left-hand side. I flip it back and forth
Well, I've
between
got it on my left-hand side, Eric. So
here and YouTube land. It's just got me all kinds of messed up tonight. But I digress. We're doing the best we can. Okay. And what's really sad is I gone back and I saw some of the comments of the people in that
there's
first
some
chat.
good comments going.
I know, but those and they're not here in this chat, and then I'm afraid that they're hanging out in no man's land, waiting for us to start. Still, I can't help it. Can't help it now, but I apologize again, everybody. My bad. I wish Evie Mux wouldn't have done that to us, but they did. So we'll do the best we can here. All right, so this is going to be an interesting topic, guys. Every now and then we like to do lists. Now, it's usually something we do in the off season, and the reason why we do it in the off season is because we're just looking for content to talk about. But here we've got something going on where, because of Jack Sawyer's play, I'm like, you know what? Let's talk about the play, and then let's try to put it in context historically with what we have, what the great vast amount of library that we have of Ohio State football, on where that play ranks in the all-time top defensive plays in Ohio State history. And this was not easy. This was not an easy exercise, to say the least. Now, offensive plays, it's a completely different thing. I mean, you got so many offensive plays to choose from. Defensively, it was a little bit tougher. And this is usually when we pull in the chat and we say, hey, guys, we need your input here. Unfortunately, I can't share that with everybody on the screen, so I will try to read them the best I can. But let's first start by talking about the play, and before we bust out our lists, and just as you reflect of the last 48 hours on this game, kind of give me your feelings right now of where you're at with that particular play. I'll start with you first, Cory.
I mean, it's my buddy Kyle. Well, your buddy too. You know him. put out a great poll that I refused to take part in. And he said, "What's the better 80-something yards to the heart of the South? Is it Jack Sawyer or is it Ezekiel Elliott?" And I was like, "Look, I'm just off the Jack Sawyer play. I can't answer that right now. Okay, Zeke was 10 years ago, so it's tough because back then, 10 years ago, I was just as freaked out about that play as I was Jack Sawyer. So um, I'm trying not to have recency bias here. It is but I will say it is single-handedly one of the greatest live plays I have ever watched in a Buckeye game ever. Period. Offense or defense. It's just I've watched it 1,000 times. I can't get tired of it. I made a freaking video to it. I don't ever do that. So just because nobody had done actual Captain Jack Sparrow to it, everybody had done Titanic or Creed or whatever. I was like, well, come on, the obvious one is Captain Jack. But I mean, it cemented his legacy as a Buckeye legend. Otherwise, we'd just be talking about why he should be a legend. Now it's indisputable he is a Buckeye legend for that play. And Ryan Day said that to his mother after the game when they were hugging. He says, your son just became a legend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Before I let you talk, Chris, let me read something here in the chat real fast.
Bobby Max.
Well, Bobby Mack gave us a $2 super chat. Does Maurice Claret's strip count as offense or defense? That is a defensive play. We might have been on offense when it started, but that is a defensive play. I'm counting that as a defensive play. One on here that I totally forgot about, guys. I can't believe JTT's pick six against Penn State.
Yeah.
I totally forgot about that play. It's not on my list because it didn't even cross my mind. How dare me?
Now JTT put together the best defensive game ever.
Yeah, without a doubt.
Well, yes, but I would say Jack Sawyer's last 3 games might be the greatest 3-game stretch from a defensive player
it's
I've
the
ever
equivalent
seen.
of what Cardell did.
Yeah.
Ooh, it is.
Maybe
no,
equivalent of what Zeke did.
Zeke, equivalent of what Zeke did. Yeah. Wow. Very good. All right, Chris, go ahead, man.
Yeah, I mean, Jack Sawyer went into that game trying to cement a legacy, and he became a legend. It's that simple. Just like Cory was just saying. If Ohio State goes on to win the national championship, and I have every reason to believe they will, someday there's going to be some kind of whether it's a plaque, a statue, something is going to be signifying Jack Sawyer and what he did on that campus. That play was that monumental. So, yeah. And obviously, it was the impetus for us starting this whole poll tonight, or this whole ranking system tonight. So.
Yeah. The fact that he's from Pickerington, Ohio, is what I've been thinking about today. The dude grew up in the shadows of the horseshoe, man. The only high school really that you could say would be closer be like if he went to Upper Arlington.
Yeah.
You know. But the fact he's from Pickerington, Ohio, just on the outskirts of 270 and southeast Columbus, grew up a Buckeye fan, and came back, you know, loses to Michigan for a 4th time, runs out to the middle of the 50-yard line. And what could have been, think about this, what could have been, we didn't know at the time, but that could have been his last moments on the horseshoe field as a player. And those moments were, I'm going to rip this flag down off of our 50-yard line. We get the home game against Tennessee, and so that won't be his last moments on the horseshoe. But the run that he's gone through, the fact he's from Central Ohio, basically born scarlet and gray from the day he was born, this is it. You know how we look at Chris Spielman? That's how this generation will look at Jack Sawyer.
Yeah.
His jersey is the iconic 36 to these kids.
Yeah.
That's, to me, we're living in that moment now. We will be talking about Jack Sawyer for the rest of our lives.
What's
And our
funny,
kid,
Eric, is as somebody who sells jerseys, I promise you that what you're saying is fact.
yeah. Sean Schrock, $2 holler. He says, see Grant against Miami.
Yeah, that was a big one.
We're going to get there, guys. I promise you. Thank you, Sean, for the super
I'll tell
chat.
you, I did a top 10, and I'm seeing so many of my top 10 instead of 5
Yeah.
listed up there.
So how do you guys want to do this? Do you want to start at 5 and work our way
5,
down?
4, 3,
5,
2,
4,
1.
3, 2, 1.
All right, and then Chris, you want to go back and give us what else you had on your list afterwards?
Sure, why not?
Okay.
We can all memorialize them.
All right, let's start with number 5. Go for it, Cory.
Will Allen, 2002, against the team up north to seal that game with the interception. It seems like a simple play, but they were driving. We were ahead 14-9. They could have scored a touchdown to keep us out of the title game. It cemented our first title appearance since 1968. Well, I mean, to me, it was significant. And he stepped in front of the pass for John Navarre, took it. And then I'll say, it's party time, Columbus. The great Brent Musburger call. And it was surreal to me at the time, knowing that we're about to go play Miami for the national title. This is set in stone now. We are going to play Miami, and that was my first ever time seeing him in a title game, and it also just cemented the Tressel legacy right there. That he beat the team up north to get to the title game, and then of course we all know what the rest is history there. But that was a huge play. It seemed simple, but it was a huge play.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what. I chose actually one of Ryan Day's first playoff moments. I got Jonathan Cooper breaking Clemson. That hit he laid on Trevor Lawrence. And after that, Lawrence just never looked the same. I remember us sitting there talking about that, Eric, and he just looked dejected after he took that sack. He looked like he didn't even want to go back out there. So that was my number 5.
Number 5 for me is Steve Miller's pick 6 in the Alabama game. I think we were talking before in the pre-show, back before we realized we were going to have technical difficulties, that I had kind of forgotten about that play, because Zeke's offensive play is the one that kind of everybody goes to, 85 yards to the heart of the South in that game. But that was such a significant part of that game. I think you reverse roles in this one. The defensive play is the one everybody's going to remember, and Travion Henderson's 75-yard screenplay is the one that kind of everybody's going to forget about in this game. But no, that's number 5 for me, was Steve Miller's pick 6 against Bama. Number 4.
Steve Miller's pick 6 against Bama.
Nice.
I had that number 4. This is the reason why. It was Bama. It was Nick Saban, the first playoff. It was I got to be honest. Even though we were ahead when Steve Miller did that, I still didn't feel we were going to win. I don't know why. I just felt Bama was invincible, and we had such bad history against the SEC, and I just didn't. It didn't compute with me that we could beat Alabama, especially at one point when we were down like 21-3 or something like that. But when he did that, and then you hear the classic Chris Fowler defensive lineman dream, I gotta be honest, that's the moment I said, oh my God, I think we're going to win this game. I think we're going to the national title game. It was unthinkable to me because we had gotten so close so many times. We even got to the game a couple times and got smacked by the SEC with the Gators and LSU. And I just didn't feel it was possible until I saw it. And when Steve Miller did that, everything turned in my head like, we're going to beat Nick Saban. So it was just so huge.
Yeah, you guys make me wish I had put Steve Miller a little higher than I did, but I actually had him just outside the top 5. Number 4 for me, I'm going to the Fiesta Bowl. How about A.J. Hawk just destroying Brady Quinn? Absolutely knocking the crap out of Brady Quinn. That to me was huge.
it's hard for me not to put AJ Hawk on my list because he's one of my favorite players of all time, but he's not on my list. Number 4 for me, Tyvis Powell's interception of Devin Gardner in the 2013 Michigan game when they went for the 2-point conversion to win the game. At the time, we were on a 23-game winning streak.
Yeah.
And that secured that. Now, of course, we all know what happened a week later, but in the Big Ten championship game. But I remember that was one of those. To me, that was the defensive equivalent of when we won in overtime and against them. That sealed it. We got it with the pick, and to this day, Tyvis Powell doesn't have to buy a drink when he's in a bar in Columbus, Ohio. People know who he is. They're buying that guy a drink. So Tyvis Powell was number 4 for me. The interception on the 2-point conversion. Number 3.
Man, that's a good one. I didn't even think about Tyvis Powell. That's a really good one, Eric.
Yeah, I forgot that one as well.
Number 3, just happened. Jack Sawyer. I don't know if you want to claim recency bias. I don't think it is recency bias to say that is one of the greatest top 5 plays of all time in defensive history of Ohio State.
Yeah.
I mean, think about the situation. You guys were there, obviously. They're on the goal line. I mean, they weren't completely on the goal line anymore because of Caleb Downs and Nathan Ransom, but Jack, not only that, the play before, he put the pressure on the quarterback up the middle, getting held to force an incompletion, and then Jeremy Birmingham tells it. The rest of the defensive line was kind of calling for substitutions. They were gassed. Jack was the one waving them off, like, "No, we're good." And he just lined up and beat the crap out of that right tackle. I mean, just destroyed that right tackle because the right tackle out leveraged himself, tried to shove Jack, and Jack shot his arms down, going around the edge, and we know what happened. And then he cemented himself as a Buckeye legend, as we talked about. It's got to be top 5.
Yeah. I'll tell you, I couldn't go through this whole list without putting something in against that team up north. So we're gonna talk about Devin Gardner again. And how about Zach Boring? Leveling Devin Gardner, planting him like a cheap flower, I believe was the comment.
Mm-hmm.
Just, it made for one of the most iconic visuals. We still see the posters. We still see, pictures of that everywhere. Zach Bourne just destroying Devin Gardner.
Not to mention the layers to that. When the Bourne family was initially a Michigan family.
Yes.
And Bourne was playing fullback and became a linebacker and solidified the linebacker spot next to Ryan Shazier that year.
Real quick before you go, Eric. Ethan, I just noticed your comment in the chat. We did not include any special teams plays in this. That would be a good one, but we did not include special team plays.
That'd be a tough one.
Can I ask you a question about the last one you just chose, Chris?
Yeah.
Is that truly an iconic? It's an iconic picture.
Was it a huge play?
Is that you're saying that is the third biggest defensive play in Ohio State history?
What are you saying is biggest, though? And this is where I wanted clarification. Is it the most memorable? Is it the most important? Is it? I think if you ask a lot of people, that's going to be something they go to as a play that they will always remember.
I mean, I do have the autographed picture of it. So, yeah, it's iconic for that reason. And in the moment, it felt big. I just don't know that that's the number 3.
And it might not be number 3. I probably got it a little high. But you know what? At the same time,
I mean, it's your list. You can choose whatever you want. I
probably do have it a little high because if I think about my AJ Hawk pick, I might swap those, to be honest. But to me, it's just like you said. There are a lot of things that we just simply forgot.
Yeah. Number 3 for me was Joey Bosa's walk-off sack against Penn State in 2014.
Oh, that's a nice one.
That's a great one.
It was
one of my top 10, by the way.
Yeah, and it. I mean, that one was, when I think of Joey Bosa, it's the first play that comes to my mind, and it's one of the biggest plays at that time because we go on to win the national championship, and if that play doesn't happen, Penn State might win, and we never go on the run we do in 2014. So that's number 3 for me. Before we give our top 2, if you haven't already, please smash the thumbs up button. Hit the like button for us, please. If you're not already a subscriber to the channel, it's free. It doesn't cost you anything, and it helps us out. Subscribe to the channel. We really do appreciate it. And again, please hit the thumbs up if you haven't already. All right, time for our top 2. Cory.
None other than Maurice Clarett in the championship game, stealing that ball from Sean Taylor and bailing out Greg Krenzel. Had to add that. I don't even think the fact that it was done in the middle of a championship game, to my mind, as a biased Buckeye fan, the greatest national title game ever played, because that was truly unexpected. Everybody expected Miami to throttle us. Everybody expected Ohio State not to be too slow, not to compete with them. Remember the infamous Mark May, Trev Alberts were both there saying there's no chance this game shouldn't even be played. And for us to come out on top of that one, I mean, it's just Maurice Clarett. I know that I'm glad, Eric, you specified it is a defensive play, because I had it in there the whole time. I was like, how is that not an iconic defensive play?
Yeah, it totally is. Ethan says Tommy Eichenberg's Rose Bowl performance. That was a great performance. There's no doubt about it. But that was the accumulation of the whole game. And if that's the case, go back and look at the stats on some of the games from the linebackers in the 70s and 80s when they were like
sacks or stats.
Yeah, Chris Spielman had a game with what, 20
Chris
tackles?
already listed AJ Hawk
against Michigan, I think it was.
Chris already listed AJ Hawk. AJ Hawk's performance against Notre Dame was superior to Tommy in the Rose Bowl. So.
Yeah.
But yeah, number 2, Chris.
This is where I got Captain Jack at right here. Okay. And again, might be a little recency bias, but man, I'm going to say it's number 2 with the caveat that it could jump into my number 1 spot should Ohio State go on to win the national title. It was that significant.
Okay. He's number 2 for me as well, believe it or not. It sits that high for me, because I'm sitting as I'm making my list and I'm like, Joey's number 3, and I'm like, I got to put that one ahead of what Joey did in significance in the quarterfinals in the first ever 12-team playoff, and just a huge play and what has been a great run for him. Number 2 for me, which means number 1 for you, Cory, is
C. Grant. Then obviously you know what play I'm talking about. And a game, again, nobody expected us to win. Goal line stand against what was basically an NFL light team in Miami. And he ragdolled Ken Dorsey to the ground to force an incompletion and get Ohio State's first undisputed national title since 1968 against a team that was heavily favored. And once again, Ohio State started the trend of vindicating new playoff systems or new postseason systems for determining a national title. So, C. Grant, I know it was just a blitz off the edge. Nobody blocked him, but he did his job, secured the win.
For me, this is where I got Clarett at. You know my love of that play, Eric. So I've got Maurice Clarett's strip in here.
It's the ultimate hustle play.
Me too. It absolutely is. By the way, do you guys know Maurice Clarett was at that game?
Yep.
Yeah.
That is fantastic. Donald Hoffer says Big Cat's hit against Missouri.
That was actually in my bottom half of my
It's not in it wasn't in the Rose Bowl though.
It was just a game against Missouri.
It was a regular season non-conference game against Missouri at Missouri.
I think that he broke in half.
Yeah.
You could go in Katzamore's freshman year and list like 7 things.
Unrated horror. Captain Jack's play with the strip scoop score was a 14-point play. He stopped them from gaining 7 and gave us another 7. To me, that's the most memorable.
I can't argue with that.
Ethan Maxfield, Ryan Shazier's forced fumble versus Monte Ball at the goal line for the win.
Awesome.
Also keeping the ball from breaking Ron Dane's record versus Ohio State. Good one, Ethan. Yeah. Goog says C. Grant against Ken Dorsey, harassment incomplete for the 2002 Natty in the Fiesta Bowl title game, a culmination. I believe. Do you remember who the national call player was? It was Jackson, wasn't it? Wasn't it Keith Jackson?
It was Dan Fouts and Keith Jackson.
Yeah, but who I believe on the radio was it Keith? It might have been Keith Jackson. After that said, you can rest easy now, Woody. I believe he said that. If it wasn't him, it might have been Mike Tirico on the radio was the call that said, Woody Hayes, you can now rest easy. Ohio State's national champions again, which I thought was a great call when you talk about calls. Now, if we flip this over and we talk offense, I'm never going against Holy Buckeye. That is my all-time greatest offensive.
Is there an argument to be made that Clark's strip can be offense and defense?
There's an argument to be made of that, sure, but we're going to leave it on the defensive side. I'm just scrolling back through real fast.
Well, I'll tell you, the only one that I haven't seen on there or seen or heard that was still in my top 10 of what we didn't mention was, what about Iggy's big interception versus Penn State this year? The interception as they were driving down at the end of the first half, where he just kind of stole it from the player.
Yeah.
That was in my top 10 that I did.
All right, so give us your 6 through 10 or 10 down through 6. Go for it.
Okay, so we had, and what's sad is I can't believe I forgot C. Grant. I literally forgot C. Grant. But anyhow, I had JT's pick 6. I had Bosa. I had the big cat hit. I had Iggy's interception. And hey, how about an honorable mention for maybe the best defensive play of all time? Anthony Schlegel laying out the idiot fan who runs on the field.
He still talks. By the way, do you know that fan and him are friends?
Well, they got to know each other real well in that moment.
Yeah, they did. That's a good one, Chris. That's a great one. Great honorable mention there, man. That's funny. All right, this was cool, but now it's time to turn the page. And we are past the Cotton Bowl. Eyes focused clearly on Atlanta, Georgia, and the national championship game. By the way, if none of you follow Eddie George on Twitter, you should. He might have had the most subtle jab I have seen. He's sitting at his coffee table, and he's drinking a cup of coffee. And the song Georgia, Georgia on My Mind is playing. Yep. And he takes a sip of coffee and he looks and he winks. Never says a word, just never does anything. Yep. I mean, such a subtle jab. Loved it. That dude has just got so much charisma, man.
Question. I know it was a jab. Was it a jab more at Notre Dame or at Michigan?
I think it's a jab at everybody not named Ohio State and Notre Dame.
Because I just know that I knew that I figured it was a jab at Michigan only because Michigan can't shut up about us right now, Michigan fans, and they keep 13-10, 13-10
in their heads, Cory.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And it seems like right now we're all saying, yeah, we're on to Georgia right now, dude. I don't really. That game was a month ago. Yeah, we hated losing to you, but we've done some things since then.
Yeah. Chuck McFarland, Woody Hayes, and the punch.
that was pretty defensive.
Yeah, it was. Ethan Maxfield. Ohio. Talking about Eddie. His Ohio State fandom is unmatched. Is he still the head coach at Tennessee State?
Yes, he is. He actually got Coach of the Year in that conference. Yeah,
he did. Brian Oberst, do you think Jack Sawyer has become the best defensive end in Buckeye history?
I can't go that far.
I mean,
you look at Chase, you look at the Bosas, you go back even further than that.
Vrabel. Vrabel's got 36 sacks for his career. I mean, and Sawyer's been here 4 years. He's got 23 right now.
Yeah.
And I love Sawyer. I love him. But come on, 36 sacks, man. That's a big significant difference right there. That's a whole season's worth of difference.
Man, where would we? There's a ranking. Where would we rank the all-time greatest defensive ends in Ohio State history?
That'd be tough. We got to go back.
Sounds like there's one of our topics this offseason.
Linebackers as well, because we were linebacker U for a very long time.
So Bobby Mack with a $2 super chat. Are we 3 sacks away from the season sack record?
What are we at? Because I know we've been climbing up that chart
We're
lately.
getting close.
As a team, maybe. I know this much. Emeka Egbuka is 3 catches away from the most of all time in Ohio State history.
And 95 yards.
And 95 yards, yep.
He can do it.
I think
really
the
wanna see
catches.
him have
I think
that
he can
game.
get the catches. I don't know about the yards. That's gonna be tough.
It's going to be tougher with the yards, but I think he can do both. Especially especially Notre Dame's going to bracket Smith, so Emeka's going to have to come up big again.
Oh, you know what? If he gets both those records, we're going to have to do a new list, Eric. We're going to have to re-rank our receivers.
Well, how about we might re-rank these receivers and Jeremiah Smith
Is on the list.
is on the list and has 2 more years to go.
Yeah.
Blue Wolverine gifted 5 memberships. Thank you, Blue. Red, the Rod Farva, Poochie the Pit, Greg, Eno Grant, Shane. Are now all new members of the OHIO podcast for a month. Thank you, Blue. Appreciate that, my man.
Yeah, Ethan, KJ Hill is still the record holder for the most catches.
By 2.
Right.
He has 201 and Egbuka's sitting at 199 right now. Yeah, so we if you go back in our audio podcasts, we did rankings years ago of every position group at Ohio State by the decade. And what was really hard, ready for this one, Cory? We did our Mount Rushmore by decade. That was almost impossible.
Yeah.
Well, Kyle Lamb and I did a podcast. We did something similar between Cooper, Tressel, and Meyer, who had the most talented team if you put all their talent together. And we actually came out with Cooper.
That doesn't surprise me.
That is actually what we did. Yes. I think what we did was ask Kyle if he got this from us. He might got this from us. No. You remember me mentioning 11 Warriors stole one of our ideas a couple weeks ago?
Yeah.
Chris and I put together the all-time teams from Cooper and Tressel and Urban Meyer and Earl Bruce.
Yeah.
And we had them play each other.
Mm-hmm.
So we were like, who would win if type of scenarios. And then 11 Warriors totally had that article after we finished that. I was like, you guys.
I've worked with some people at 11 Warriors in other endeavors, and I'm not surprised by that.
Hey man, whatever works, right? I guess. But we did that one. That was a lot of fun too. So we'll have to maybe revisit some of these in the future in the off season. But let's focus now on Notre Dame. So Notre Dame this season, if you've watched them at all, they started the season off with a huge win on the road at Texas A&M. We all watched that game. It was the biggest game that week to start the year off, and that was a huge victory for them. They follow that up with a home loss against Northern Illinois, and it's like everybody just wrote them off. They were off of everybody's radar from that point on. And they quietly went about their business all season long. And from that moment on, they dominated every game they were in the regular season. I mean, dominated it. The best team they played after that, USC, maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, Army, Navy had good records, but Louisville had a good record. Um, so a lot, even though they went into the playoffs 11-1, there was still this: are they really good? They get Indiana. Indiana was also 11-1, only loss against Ohio State.
But were they really good?
They get them at home. I mean, yeah, because we played them, we saw them, we saw them in person. Indiana
Yeah.
wasn't a bad football team. Beat them basically the same way Ohio State kind of beat them, essentially. Then they have Georgia,
Georgia. Okay.
and they beat Georgia. And we all called this. A lot of people were calling this.
Yeah.
I think Georgia was also a very flawed football team, and I thought their weaknesses Notre Dame could exploit. They absolutely did. In steps Penn State. Very close game. Penn State was kind of winning the game. But, Chris, we were on the air Thursday night when the game was going on, and I remember saying Notre Dame's got to feel really good about this because Penn State gave them their very best shot, and they're only down 7.
Well, and like I said, I knew immediately when Aller missed a wide open receiver in the flat at the goal line that Penn State was in trouble because Aller was not on. That's a guy who was normally very, very accurate on the short patterns. And he was off on even in the short routes, so I knew they were in trouble.
Donald and Karen Rosbach with a $10 super chat. Day and his team is focused. Day said, we will enjoy this win tonight. Tomorrow we will go back to work. We have not won anything yet. OH. I agree with that completely.
Well, I will say what I like about this playoffs is that we're racking up hardware. Rose Bowl.
Yeah, we are.
Yeah.
Cotton Bowl trophies. The Woody's going to be full of hardware. The guys are going to have rings and bling bling. You add a natty to this, my goodness, you're just running. You coming home with a lot of hardware.
Yeah. That is what's really cool about this. You're right. But let me get back to my point here, and then I'll turn it over to you guys to let you respond. Notre Dame wins that hard-fought game against Penn State. Penn State's not a bad football team. No one says they are. I did a video about Penn State, by the way. Their fans either respect me or absolutely hate me, similar to our fan base. So I'm not surprised. Go watch the video. It's really good, though. And then Chris and I dropped a video this afternoon, too, that a lot of you are going to want to go watch, too, about Quinn Ewers. So you want to go check that one out.
All about him possibly coming to Columbus.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I don't think it's dead yet. I don't. So anyways, long story short, Notre Dame. I want you to give me. I'm going to ask 2 questions, but the first one is this: Notre Dame, is this the second best team in college football? Yes or no, Cory?
I think yes right now. Well, I want to say Texas is better, but I just don't know. But I got to respect what they've done. Everybody had it, possibly Ohio State, Georgia, or Texas, Georgia, Oregon, Georgia. You guys obviously said Notre Dame could beat them. I thought Notre Dame could beat them as well, but it seemed like the whole world of college football, the media, legacy media of it, like to say, well, we think Georgia's going to be the team. So they're a little bit of an underdog, and they got it. But I'll tell you this: they're easily one of the best stories of this year. So second best team, I'm only giving it to them because I think they've earned it by getting here.
I'm going to say no. And this is why. I think whoever came out of that side of the bracket had a pretty easy road to hoe. I really feel like, honestly, you could argue that the top 2 to 3 best teams came out of our side of the bracket. It's hard to deny Oregon, who had been in first place damn near all season, was not one of the 2 top teams in the country. Even though Ohio State smacked them around in that game, it's still hard to deny that. Texas, another team that been towards the top of the rankings most of the season. 2 losses. The 2 losses came to Georgia. And they came to a healthy Georgia, which Notre Dame did not play. I think arguably the 2 to 3 top teams in the country came off of our side of the bracket. Do I think Notre Dame's definitely top 5 worthy? Absolutely. Top 2, I don't know. I can't make that argument.
That's fair.
If they're not the second best team, who is? Texas, Oregon, who is it?
I would say Oregon.
Yeah, it's recency bias aside about how we throttled them. Oregon was like the top team all year from almost pretty much front to back. I know they didn't start out rated number 1, but once they grabbed it, they just ran with it, and then they won the Big Ten, went undefeated until.
And they do have a win over the team that's there.
That's true, and thankfully we avenged that loss. But yeah, you're right, they do, and I just think it's people are, including myself, are putting them down because of how we beat them in Pasadena, but you can't take away from their season. They had a phenomenal season. I do think if they were in the game tonight or next Monday or whatever against Notre Dame, they'd be favored by almost the same amount we're favored by.
So, any of you want to take a? Do you guys remember how many points Notre Dame beat Texas A&M by at the beginning of the year?
I actually don't remember. I remember them winning. I just don't. I think it was close, wasn't it?
You want to take a stab at it, Chris?
See, I didn't think it was real close. I thought it was like 11 or something like that.
10.
Yeah.
Okay.
You guys want to take a stab at how many points Texas beat Texas A&M by?
Oh, they throttled Texas A&M, didn't they?
10.
10.
Oh, okay.
So,
Ohio State's favored by 9.5 on the opening line.
Vegas ain't dumb. Okay. I'm going to say if you believe Texas is the second best team in college football, Notre Dame is Texas then.
I think there's a lot of similarities, except Notre Dame runs the ball better.
Yes.
Notre Dame runs the ball better, but they don't. I think the passing game at Texas is more effective.
That's true.
Yes. So when you think of Notre Dame, think Texas with a running game, but not necessarily. Like if we would have played Texas and Arch Manning was the quarterback the whole game, that's what we're about to face.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't think Riley Leonard's on Arch's level, and I'm saying that even though I know Arch is technically a backup. I think Riley Leonard's extremely overrated.
Say that again.
You're saying if we faced Texas with Arch Manning, that's what we're about. I actually don't think Riley's as good as Quinn.
Yeah, didn't he have a playoff game where he only had 90 yards?
Yeah, against Georgia.
Yeah.
And on top of that, Riley just did not have a great game against Penn State overall.
Ryan Daysbeard. Oh Lord, Eric, no. What are you oh Lording about? And Eric, know about?
I actually think Arch right now is better than Riley Leonard, and Arch is a backup technically. So.
Yeah.
Oh man, Cory's out there with some fighting words.
For people to say that Will Howard he's the weakest quarterback left in the semifinals when Riley Leonard's sitting there, I think that's nuts. I mean, Riley's good. I'm not saying he's terrible, but I think Quinn is a better player than him.
Okay. And listen, I'm not gonna say no yet. Riley has 2,600 yards. Will Howard has 1,000 more yards, says Ryan Daysbeard. In the chat.
Riley's also a running guy. He has a lot more.
Yeah.
A lot more. You're getting right to my next point. Great segue.
I planned it. That's how I planned it.
Yeah. You're awesome at this. Notre Dame presents something that we have not seen in this playoff yet. And that's twofold. Number one, they're a run-first team, and they're really good at it. Number two, they have a quarterback with legs who can.
Well, technically, Tennessee was a run-first team, but.
Well, and Gabriel's got legs.
Yeah.
But he didn't know how to use them. Hey. No, I mean this is to a different level, guys. I've watched
It's almost like playing an option team.
It is. It really is. So on a scale of 1 to 10, next question. Scale of 1 to 10. 1 being no concern at all. 10 being this is going to keep me up at night. Riley Leonard's ability to run the football. Where are you at in your concern level, Cory? 5.
I'm a little less than that. I'm going to say 4.
Wow.
I think. Well, I'll tell you how. We got Caleb Downs, Lathan Ransom, Sonny Styles, and Cody Simon are all extremely athletic and can spy him.
Not only that, but like we said, he doesn't have the arm that a Quinn Ewers has. He doesn't have the arm that a Dylan Gabriel has. We're going to be able to bring extra guys up in the box. I really feel like Ohio State, and again, I'll say the same thing that I've said all playoff long. If they go out and they go off early, they get a 2-touchdown lead, this game could get ugly.
And I'll say this, by the way, we are 5-1 against top 10 teams this season. They have not faced a team even close to Ohio State.
Without looking it up, would you like either of you like to take a stab at how many passing yards Riley Leonard had against Penn State?
175.
Okay,
I was going to
Chris?
say about 150.
You're both wrong. 223.
Huh.
He's better at throwing the football than you think.
I didn't say he was terrible at throwing the football. I just don't think he's a leader that extremely. I just don't think he's anywhere near as good as Dylan Gabriel or Quinn Ewers at throwing the football.
Yeah. I think our corners can cover 1-on-1 versus.
They're going to have to. There's no other way around it. They're going to have to. Now we're all talking on the defensive side of things. And if I were to get a phone call tonight from Jim Knowles, I think he would probably say in that raspy voice of his that's drank too much McDonald's coffee, you just need to relax, Eric. I've got this under control.
Did you see the story about the goal line with Jim Knowles? I know you saw that.
Go ahead.
The assistant said, "Man, they scored really quickly on us, and they were on the 1 yard line." Jim snarled over the microphone, "They haven't scored yet."
I didn't hear this. What was this?
There was a story where one of the assistants, when they were driving down on us real quickly to get to the goal line, one of them said, "Man, they scored quick on us there." And Jim Knowles butt in right over the feed and snarled at him, "They haven't scored yet."
That was the drive, the scoop.
That was a Jack Sawyer drive.
Yeah.
Did that assistant get fired yet?
I mean, he's getting him his coffee. I know that much.
That's funny. Oh, I didn't hear that one. That's great. Okay, he's getting him coffee now.
And not McDonald's. He's getting them the gourmet stuff.
Yeah.
Can I say this though about this game? Ryan Day has a chance to do so much in this game. Obviously, win a national title and reverse the narrative, but more than anything, he has a chance to shut me the hell up.
That's his biggest goal.
At least until November.
On the whiteboard in there.
Yeah, I do think that's when Ryan Day and his wife are laying in bed at night. She's like, "One more, honey, and you can shut that wild man up. Put the lunatic fringe to sleep."
That's been the whole. He hasn't even game plan for these games. He just has your picture on the whiteboard and going, "Guys, please, you gotta win these games for me. I can't take this anymore."
You know what we need to do? We need to get her to put a little headset over his ears at night and just play a succession of Lou Holtz clips.
Do you guys know he's not spoke to Lou Holtz since the Notre Dame game last year?
He has no need to. You know what? I wonder if he's going to get on, if he wins the game and he's going to get on this post game interview and go, "I want to know where Chris Wild."
Yes. Oh, Chuck McFarland. What if Ohio State loses? Ryan Day will be ... on Chris's crap list.
You know, I've said it all along. It's natty or bust. I think he should be fired if he loses.
Wow.
Because
I can't.
All that's been accomplished in the last 3 games means nothing if you don't close it out. Means nothing.
It's gonna. Okay. $2 super chat from Bobby Mack. Notre Dame is down their starting left tackle and their right tackle is hurting. Yeah, their offensive line has been a mash unit all season, just like ours. So it's Steely Matt. This is for the wild man, he says. Yes. We love you, Chris.
I'll say this: Jeremiah Love and their defense are what concerned me about this game. Not Riley Leonard.
What if I let me come back with you?
Love's banged up, but still.
let me come back at you on that one.
Mhm.
They play. What if I told you all year long they've played man defense?
I know that, but I have to believe they're going to bracket to some degree on Smith. There's no,
They have to.
and
Can't.
Watts is a
What if they
great
don't? Why
Watts
would
is
they
a
do
great
it now?
corner
They haven't done it all year.
because they haven't faced Jeremiah Smith all year. I mean, it's just a different animal. If you go 1-on-1 with him and get beat by him all game,
Please.
knowing who he is, you're an idiot.
That might happen.
It might. I would say Marcus Freeman is coaching malpractice if he goes
Well-
1-on-1 with Jeremiah Smith.
Corey, before you say doing that would be idiotic, let's remember this is the guy that put 10 guys on the field to play defense.
That's true. 10 guys and leave Jeremiah Smith wide open. I don't know, but
Might be a.
be a bold strategy, Cotton. Yeah.
Let's see how it works out.
That's right.
I mean, look, Watts is a great corner. He really, really is. He's going to be a first-round draft pick probably. And I'm not saying he can't give Jeremiah Smith all he wants. I just don't risk that. I was like, dude, we're going to put a safety over him, and then you're going to have help. And we're going to make everybody else beat us and not Jeremiah Smith. Now, we just proved we could do that, but it was much tougher go of it than it was against Oregon. So I'd say I would take my chances trying to take Jeremiah Smith out of the game if I'm Notre Dame. But again, if he doesn't, he really trusts his corner that much, okay.
Please.
Last thing, and then by the way, we've got, and then I'll tell you what we have on deck for this week. The media is all up on Marcus Freeman on being the first ever African American head coach and Asian head coach to coach in the national championship. Do you know what else he's the first to do as reaching the
First former Ohio State linebacker as a head coach?
First former Ohio State player.
That's good. Cool.
It's sad that he's going to have to lose so miserably.
To his alma mater.
Who he turned his back on.
Who he said he made a mistake. Yeah, exactly. Coming to. Yeah.
Chris is always looking for the edge as a fan, ain't he? Always looking for the edge.
He's right. I mean, look, I'm not going to forget Freeman's
The guy
comments.
stabbed us in the back,
Yeah.
Eric.
He couldn't just give us some credit. He had to say, well, I don't want to make the same mistake twice. When he said he almost went to Notre Dame the first time. Look, Freeman, I think he's actually legitimately a good dude, but as far as his relationship with Ohio State is concerned, he's the enemy right now.
Ryan Day's beard.
You know what? I actually respect Kirk Herbstreit more than I do Marcus Freeman right now.
More than Ryan Freeman?
Well,
that's a breed we don't need.
Ryan Day's beard. He's also going to be the first Asian black coach to lose to Ryan Day in the title game.
Actually, he would be the first coach to lose to Ryan Day in a title.
Yeah.
Because he hasn't done it yet.
Oh my gosh.
Get over the hump.
The chat's getting out of hand, man. It's getting good. This has been a lot of fun, guys. Again, I apologize to everybody why we couldn't put up anybody's comments tonight onto the live show. We had to restart the whole feed again. We got on it. We hit start, and it just we got the spinning wheel of death. It never would start, so we had to stop it, exit, come back, restart it. When we did, it started a whole new live stream. So the old one just got obliterated. I apologize. We will do better. We will try to do better, but it really wasn't my fault.
Totally.
Corey, tell everybody what you got going on tomorrow night, 8:00 Eastern, when we have the doctor for Buckeye Therapy.
Chris is going to love this topic. I don't know if you told him yet or not.
No, I haven't.
Why Ryan Day is currently proving the doubters wrong.
He hasn't proven anything yet.
I say he's in the process of it.
Until he closes it out, he hasn't done squat.
He's done some things. He'll be the coach next year, whether we win or lose.
He's the first Ohio State coach to ever win 2 bowl games in the same year.
Well, he's the first one to have the opportunity to do that, isn't he?
Yes. He's 1 for 1. He's 1 for 1. All right. Make sure you tune into that tomorrow. It's going to be a lot of fun. We will have John Kennedy on the show at some point. I will also be on John Kennedy's show at some point, I do believe. So we will be doing those things. That's going to be wild. That's going to be a lot of fun. So there's going to be a lot of Notre Dame Buckeye back and forth on both chats this week. You definitely are going to want to tune into those and enjoy them. We will have a preview for you this week. So we're going to preview the game this week. Like the game would be on Saturday, even though it's Monday. So we will get that loaded and ready for you by the end of the week. We have the call-in show. This Thursday. The idea is to have John Kennedy, if we can get him. I need to talk to him. We've been chatting back and forth, but I need to talk to him over the phone and nail this all down. We like to have him next Sunday night, so the day before. If he can't join us Sunday night, then we'll probably see if he can join us Thursday night. Okay, so Thursday night show might be a little different, possibly. Also, I am going to be on a Georgia show tomorrow. Georgia wants to talk to a Buckeye to preview the national championship. So I'll be on that show. I will, when it's posted, I will put the links out for all of you. Also,
I'm rooting for us to get revenge.
Probably, maybe a little bit. I'm guessing.
You should ask them that question. Are you guys rooting for Buckeyes?
Yeah. Also, I'm going to be on a Michigan podcast. A Michigan podcast called me to chat about the national championship game, which I thought was interesting.
Drop, Eric.
I know. We'll see. Seems like a good guy. I listened to one of their shows.
His last words.
Yeah, he's a Michigan fan. He can't be too good of a guy.
We'll see about that.
Seems like a good guy. Eric comes back.
Like
it was horrible.
It's like the Squid Games over there. Get me out of there.
Oh, by the way, first ever historically, there will be a therapy session during the live watch party.
Yes, I was going to get to that. We'll be doing the live watch next Monday. Now, there is a very good chance I will not be here for Sunday and Monday. I might be going to the national championship. So I haven't talked to Carl yet today, but that's the plan, is for Carl and I to go to the national championship game. So if that's the case, Cory and Chris will be taking care of Sunday night and Monday's watch party. So make sure you guys are all here to support them. Who knows? They'll probably do a better job than I did.
We could invite Kennedy to take your spot on the live watch party.
Yeah, let's get Kennedy to do that. Oh, come on. That'd be great.
Oh, my gosh. You guys, I don't
I'd be off. I'd love it. I would love it. Let's get Kennedy on here.
He'd break so many things. That would be amazing, guys. Yeah, this is going to be a crazy week. Buckle up, man. Tons of content coming your way every day. Check the channel. There might be 2-3 videos hitting you. And then also, if you're members, be on the lookout. Members get that free video, recruiting video dropping this week as well. So that's coming your way as well. Did I miss anything, guys?
No, but just so everybody knows, now through the national championship game, anything in the store behind me, 10% off. Use the promo code PODSQUAD. Pod Squatters, we're going to have a new code for free shipping after the game.
Okay. So there you guys have it. Promo code PODSQUAD. Go to the OHIOpodcast.com website, hit store. It'll take you to Chris's store. Use promo code PODSQUAD for what? What's the deal?
10% off.
10% off. Man, some good stuff there. Does that include the Lunatic Fringe t-shirt?
Includes everything.
Wow, all of it. Watch out, Mama. Eric's going to do some shopping, man. All right, guys, this has been a lot of fun. Make sure you check out the channel all week long. Lots of good stuff coming your way. Enjoy this, guys. One game left, and this is the build-up for it all week, baby. Be kind to one another. I owe someone's OH. Sing Carbon High with all your heart. Till next time. OH!
Oh.
Go Bucks.